Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
What up? Oh, for sure.
messenger. Kill the messenger. Kill the messenger.
In my dreams, I walk free in the city streets. 2,500 days plus 50 weeks. Doing hard time for these WikiLeaks. Trying to bring the truth out, man, it only gets you deep. And then they gag you. You don't get to speak. And when you get the leak, they try to hit the leak. The masters of the masses, they want this shit to street. That's why my middle finger's up to these sick elites. Playing on a regular.
You kill the messenger.
Free speech is the freedom of press. Take your deepest, darkest secrets, never leave them unsaid. If I'm a thief, then I'm a thief for the people you dread. The people want the red, while the blue, you keep them in bed. Seeking the sheep, keep them asleep, deceiving the weak. Keep seeking the leaks till you cease, and I see your defeat. Until I'm deceased underneath a freezer red sheet. Become a dead man, then I hit the switch and release. We're going stacks. We're going stacks. We're going stacks. Your credit,
Kill the messenger.
And outside my window a figure quickly creeps. They dark as night like some motherfucking chimney sweeps. Whiskey what my Mickey keeps. Dying in my kidneys weak. Silence of my risky tweets. What the grand jury seeks. I'm wanting peace like 7 years in Tibet. Now rest in peace like 7 years under threat. Cause I released 7 vaults. They upset. They ended the rape sentence. But the US still insists to rest. I guess it's a sin to take the truth and disseminate. MLK to Gandhi. Take him and eliminate. And I don't say I'm great. Just wanna say what's fake. But if they kill me, a million others will take my place. The CIA's post like a knife the sharpest. All hypocrisy, lies, and heartless. They want to stop me, my life, make my heart quit. Cause democracy dies in the darkness. Cause democracy dies in the darkness. You kill the messenger.
You kill the messenger.
Democracy dies in the darkness.
Darkness.
Hi everyone, welcome to what is my London studio at the moment. Now I haven't properly set it up. I've got the green screen behind me as you can see, but I haven't set this up properly yet. I'm just making sure everything's gone live. Hi everybody in the chat. I'm just making sure everything's okay since I've gone live and you can hear me all. Couple of things. Cowboy, yeah, I did see the Correspondents last night. They were that band that were at Oxford Circus, weren't they? They were excellent. We've got footage of that. Got tons of footage from the last few days. We've been out and about. We've been to... I was going to do the stream tonight actually from the Extinction Rebellion live on site. But we couldn't find anywhere quiet enough to actually do it. The places that we went to were just absolutely blaring. I think the only place I could have probably done the live show from was maybe Waterloo Bridge, but that's the one place we didn't go to today. So, John B also, did they mention the wars and did they mention 5G? Yeah, they did. There was one guy on Waterloo Bridge yesterday who was talking about the wars and talking about George Bush, talking about the war criminals that had got away with everything, and they were also talking about 5G as well. So you know they're pretty clued up people. Good people, great people there. The audio, James, if the audio's a bit fuzzy, there's not much I can do about it at the moment other than just apologise because, like I say, I've been really busy. As you've probably seen. I was at the prison on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. My days have pretty much been messed up now. And obviously I've still got 2 interviews to edit from Sunday, 2 excellent interviews as well, and hopefully I'll release those tomorrow. But I just haven't had a chance to release the footage that we've got and sit down and put it in a video. I want to cover really what I'm going to be doing going forward. Now I've had a chance to actually get on the ground and start speaking to people from the Extinction Rebellion. You look tired, Gordon, mate, says Sean Calder. Mate, I am absolutely shattered. I am shattered. My feet are absolutely killing me. I've done so much walking over the last few days. But we've got plenty done, and things are really happening here as well. So, yeah, onwards and upwards and going forward. So it's not going to be a long stream tonight. It's not going to be a massive show like I think last week I did like 4, 5, 6 stories or something like that. It's not going to be that. I've just want to do an update to everybody of what's happened, what's going on down there, more importantly, because you're seeing a lot of arrests at the moment, but you're not seeing the context they're in, and I want to put them into some sort of context and tell you exactly what's going on tonight. Conscientious Protector, by the way, is Nikki M. That's why she's got the moderator status, and Nikki M is down there somewhere doing her stuff. John B says 5G will kill us and we can stop it. Not if climate change or war is going to kill us first, mate. Take you. Yeah, I do need a pint, Jonathan Powling. You're absolutely right. We were going to go out for a drink tonight, but I wanted to do this live stream. I'm right next to the pink boat at Oxford Circus. Can't hear the stream, but wanted to say hi, says Nicky M. We were going to stream from Oxford Circus. That was the idea, that we were going to go there and stream from Oxford Circus, but it was just too loud. You couldn't, I'd be 150, 200 yards up the street to be able to hear my voice. Then we were at Parliament Square. Parliament Square, we got some footage of guys being taken away. I'll talk about it in a bit. Talk about what's happening with the police and what they're arresting and what I think is going on there, and my evaluation of it so far for the last couple of days. I'll be able to do it more day after tomorrow. I'll be able to get out in the field more and actually start interviewing these people. This is not going away, by the way. This is not going away. These people are there for the 2 weeks. Nicky will contest. They are, they've got it sorted. They've got it sorted. So it's going to last 2 weeks, this rebellion is, and it's going to cost a lot of money. We'll see if they carry on, the police, with their course of action that they're taking so far. Darren Levy says, why did the Green protesters attach themselves to Corbyn's fence but not try to attach themselves to Parliament or 10 Downing Street's gates or Buckingham Palace gate? I assume it's coming, mate. I assume it's coming. They weren't just attaching themselves to Corbyn's gate. There was a guy on the DLR. There was a couple of trains. There was light disruption today. What you saw was light from the Extinction Rebellion, and they could, shut down a lot of other things. And I think they've got plans to. Over 300 arrests according to MSM. Where are the state pigs going to put them all? Sean, 300 arrests, yeah. But how many were released, mate? I'll talk about it tonight. Tell Caris the Warlock says, climate change will destroy society and we will have to restart a lot like 12,000 years ago. Archaeologists 18,000 years from now will be like, oh crap, I think there was an advanced civilization here. Could work, could happen, really could. What's the 5G thing, says Jimbo? It's something I have looked into a little bit. 5G is basically going to make anonymity impossible from what I can gather. We'll see. I'll have to do a deeper dive and, do a video on it. There's just so much for me to cover at the moment, but I'm only one man, so what if the protesters gathered large enough numbers to cover them all in London? Mainstream media would have to cover it then. Here's the thing, Darren. First of all, Yeah, first of all, the song, by the way, at the beginning, for everybody, I noticed a couple of people asking, it was Kill the Messenger by James Gets It, the SEVAUX remix. All the links are down in the description of this live stream if you want to go and, download it from, I think it's on SoundCloud, if I remember right. So I've been busy the last few days. I went to, first of all, thank you to everybody. I'm down here in London and I'm covering things on the ground because of your donations. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys buying this equipment and allowing me to go out there. Now I'm a tech nightmare, and the last few days have been me getting used to the equipment. I have learned very quickly that I can't operate the camera on my own and do an interview at the same time. It's two things. It's like that. It's like doing that. I just can't do it. So it's much easier with my girlfriend there operating the camera. So hopefully that will happen more going forward. She couldn't on Sunday, unfortunately. She had a prior appointment, which is why the interview with Mohammed El Matsi, you probably see he's almost out of a shot at one stage, and I didn't notice it. I had to move the camera quickly. But yeah, some great footage from there on Sunday. Some great people. I'll talk about it more in depth when I do a video on Assange that I will do coming up. I've got to finish that probably tomorrow. I'm going to stop in tomorrow and actually do some editing from here and get more videos out. Because there's a lot I need to cover, obviously, since I've been down here and being on the move and not being actually at my home studio, if you like. It makes it more difficult for me to do things. But so yeah, it's your donations have brought me down here, and I thank that. Obviously, links below for me to continue reporting down here. I do need funding, and it is bloody expensive, especially transport, etc. down here. So yeah, I need your help to continue. First of all, the mainstream media there, somebody mentioned, and how they're covering it. They're only obviously covering the arrests at the moment. Now, I was guilty of that last night. It's just what I pointed my camera at. But I was getting the lay of the land and really trying to walk around and try not to get noticed, and try to fit in, and try to just mingle and try to listen to what everybody was talking to the first few days, and just try and figure out what is really happening down there and what are their goals. And so instead of focusing on the policing, I want to focusing on the message, because the policing, as I explained last night, what they're doing, and we caught somebody being arrested today at Parliament Square. There was a dying there, as I mentioned, and it was literally like an hour and a half ago. We saw it and filmed it. I've got some footage of that. I'll probably release it as a video. Like I said, I've got loads of footage and no time to edit it all. So what they're doing is the police are essentially arresting these people, and as Darren suggested there's over 300 people being arrested. I think it's close to 400. It might even be over 400 after tonight's events. But the thing is, how many are being charged? Because the majority of them are actually released without charge. Now, Nikki, who I met last night, I met Nikki M. She's wonderful. Say hi to Nikki. She's conscientious protector in the chat. Send us some love. She was explaining, she gave me a leaflet, and I've forgotten where it is. I've got it somewhere, I think. But they've all got instructions on how to act if they do get arrested, etc. And most of them are released without charge, from what I can tell, because they haven't got the space. And they're released without charge, and they're literally just released without charge, and they're walking out of the jail cells to a bunch of their friends, their fellow protesters, who are greeting them with warm hugs and biscuits and cups of tea, etc. And it's all a lovely experience for them, and then they go back out to different parts of London that they're shutting down. So it's almost like it's like a revolving door at the moment. They're just moving them, and they're just going round in a circle. Now, this is all well and good, and the police are all. I spoke to one policeman, and he was. I said, as protests go, this must be a dream for the police, and he said it is actually. He said it is. Everybody's been. Said it looks like everybody's treating everybody with respect, and they are, and they're going and they're arresting people one by one every now and then in batches, and they're taking some away. More people come and fill their place, and that's it. It's just a revolving door. Essentially, it's a giant waste of money. It's a giant waste of money. What the police are doing down there, I just don't know. I really don't know. Because these people aren't actually causing any trouble. So I don't know why there's that massive police presence, and I don't see why they're arresting people. If they're just going to release most of them without charge, there's no point. It's a giant waste of money, is what it is. So I don't want to really concentrate on that though, because what I want to concentrate on is on more is the message that they have. Because the message, and I've been reading up about it quite a bit, and you know what, the message they have is really good. Now, there are people in the chat who don't believe in climate change, they don't believe that climate change is happening at all. And to them I'll say, well, you know what, how about we have a clean planet, and a clean planet that we're not fighting and killing each other over oil. How about we transfer off that? But there are other things to actually think about other than climate change that means we have to change the way we live massively. It's not just giant climate change. If you ask David Attenborough, for instance, what the biggest problem facing the planet right now is, I think it was about 5 years ago he answered this question, and he said overpopulation. I'm not sure whether you can hear that. That's a helicopter. They've been flying overhead all day, these police helicopters that have going around in circles. So they've shut down 5 points in London, first of all. Let's shut down 5 points in London. And I want to show you this because each point has got its own message. You've got Marble Arch, where we came from last, and this is an emergency, and they're all telling people how bad things are. And you've got to tell the truth over at Oxford Circus, and that's a demand for the government to tell the truth on climate change. Good luck with that. The heart is Piccadilly Circus. Now, we went to Piccadilly Circus, and there was literally nobody there. So whether they've closed that down, I don't know, or whether it was in a place that we didn't go to. We certainly were at the Eros statue, so I assume that was Piccadilly Circus. But there's nobody there. But then you've got Beyond Politics on Parliament Square. They'd almost cleared that. There was 200 police officers, but I literally got a text from Nikki just as I was coming back saying it's all back to normal there now. And Act Now on Waterloo Bridge, which is saying, you know, obviously we need to act now, and how pointers on how we can and how we can force them. So those are the 5 points in London that they're concentrating on, and there's a clear message for each one. Now, today is day 3 of a planned 14-day long protests, and you saw them ramping it up a little bit today with taking it to the transport system in London and gluing themselves to train, etc. And they said that this was light. They've obviously got quite a few things up their sleeve, and there was there were several arrests at the Shell headquarters yesterday as well. One lady who forgotten what she was. I think she was vice chair of some organisation. She ended up. I saw video footage of it earlier. She ended up gluing her hands to the ground outside. The reason she glued them to the ground is literally the police tackled her, and she ended up gluing her hands to the ground, and she got taken away and arrested, and literally she was back out within 3 hours. She was back out where she was before. After being arrested, and they wouldn't even, because they're not even accepting a caution. There is like I said, I don't know where it is because I'm really disorganised at the moment. But with regards to their cautions and what to do, they know what they're doing. They've also got legal observers as well. So whenever somebody's about to get arrested, the legal observer is there to obviously say to them what they should and shouldn't do, and whether they need any help, etc., etc. Like I said, there's been nearly 400 arrests, but I don't know how many charges. From what I can tell, most of those they've just let them out after a few hours in the cells without charge, and they've gone straight back out to where they were before, or to a different part in London, so the police there don't recognise them. So far, the police tactics have been ineffective then, and obviously a giant waste of money. It's all been very nice, and they've all been very civil to each other, which is great to see, but I don't see the point in them arresting these people. I don't see the point. It just seems to me like it's a giant waste of money. It's like they don't know how to handle it, and they have to be seen to be doing something, so they're just arresting people and they're releasing them without charge. It's just a nonsense. It seems like a waste of money to me. obviously this has caused a huge disruption there to the economy and the businesses within that direct vicinity. I mean, these are 4 of the busiest points in London, and I can imagine that Oxford Circus especially, there's a lot of posh shops around there, a lot of posh, large global companies, if you like, global brands. And I can imagine that they're not happy because, unlike the People's Assembly that I went to, that rally down in London a few months ago, where, I mean, it was all a very lovely, well-planned event, and down the street, obviously, the shops made a killing that day because the protesters were nipping off into Starbucks and etc. and buying coffees. These guys, not so much, into your Starbucks and your Cafe Nero, these guys and girls aren't. So, yeah, the businesses aren't making a killing. You would think they might with all those protesters down there, but they're not. These protesters have got they've got their own kitchens that I noticed. I was talking to some people who had been feeding people with free vegan food. Put a donation in the pot if you can afford it. If not, it's just free. Take it away. I'm going to get back there. Probably not tomorrow, like I say. I probably won't go out tomorrow. Maybe the day after. And really, taste this stuff and see what it's like. See how many people they've fed, that sort of thing, and really start trying to interview these people in their own words, because that's what's not happening at the moment that I can see from the media. Obviously, I would have been down there on Monday doing this, but had I not been so far behind on my editing, etc., from Sunday and the weekend. The media reaction to this so far has been diabolical. You probably will have seen Adam Bolton's reaction to one of the spokespeople for this protest. I've had people tag me and stuff saying, be careful what you're doing, Gordon, with this, and be careful who's funding this organisation, etc. And I'm aware of that, and I'm looking into it. I'm investigating it, and whatever I find the truth, I'll report on it. So back off, alright? Don't say I've fallen for anything yet. I haven't. I'm still reporting on it, and I'm still finding out what's going on here, and I'm still finding out. I'm trying to find out, whether this can be successful or not, more to the point, and what the end game is. Now, as to what they want and what they're demanding, there are clear. Oh, where is it? I did have it, I promise you. But there are clear things that they want. Let me just go to their website. I'll bring it up. The first thing that they want is for the government to tell the truth. Like I say, good luck with that, because the truth is horrifying, to be quite honest. It really is. It's horrifying. So, let me just see if I can bring up this. So what they want is, first of all, to tell the truth. The government must tell the truth by declaring a climate and ecological emergency, working with other institutions to communicate the urgency for change. The second thing they want is to act now. The government must act now to halt biodiversity loss and reduce greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2025. This is a stretch, 2025. It's not impossible. Can be done. Easily, actually, if you've got the will. There would be a lot of change, obviously, a lot of upheaval, but it can be done. Especially if you look at it, as a wartime scenario. If you look at it as a wartime scenario, it definitely can be done. And we've got an opportunity here, and we can be leaders in the planet in doing this. Remember, we could, nobody has really stepped forward. None of the major superpowers have stepped forward to really tackle climate change. 2025, I think the government is mulling over a proposition at the moment to do it by 2050. And I remember when that came out saying, that's 20 years too late. We need to get it down to zero, and we need to do it down as soon as possible. Remember, the IPCC report was a year ago, and that said we've got 12 years to do it. We can do this. Number 3, they want, beyond politics, the government must create and be led by the decisions of a citizens' assembly on climate change. Now, I have got, here it is. So this is one of the flyers that they're handing out. This is beyond politics, and I'm just going to read you their proposals for citizens' assemblies and people's assemblies, because to me this is very much like wisdom of the crowd, in that you just get 1,000 people and ask them random questions, and generally they come to the right conclusion and they come to the right thing to do. So let me read, the difference between citizens' assemblies and people's assemblies. They're both very similar in their conclusions, by the way, but here we go. Citizens' assemblies are a group of randomly selected citizens from 100 to 1,000 in size that represent a microcosm of society. They are brought together to make political decisions, particularly on issues that are too controversial for politicians to risk their careers. Anti-Semitism at the moment, I would suggest. Everybody's bloody scared of talking about that the way it should be. This process can take from months to years. CA members, Citizens' Assemblies members, go through a deliberative democracy learning process where they have to have access to experts and listen to many points of view and differing interest groups before they come to a decision. Members often find that even though they came to the issue with their own strongly held ideas and thinking, they will have their mind completely changed through the deeper knowledge and wider perspective gained through the process. And at the bottom it says this: academic research shows that people trust citizens' assemblies, whereas no one trusts politicians. Isn't that the truth? People's assemblies are a group of self-selecting people who come together in an assembly, often in occupied spaces, as part of a movement towards a revolutionary change. For instance, Tahrir Square in Egypt. The aim of the PAs can be to make decisions, discuss issues, or rapidly organised. Assemblies usually last from an hour to 4 hours and often happen in occupied spaces, roads, or open town or city squares. The People's Assembly will use participatory democracy, that is, everyone's voice is heard equally and no voices lead. The aim is for the collective voice of the entire Assembly to become involved in arriving at a decision. Trained facilitators are used to support the process. People will find that even though they have come to the issue with their own strongly held ideas and thinking, they will have their mind completely changed through the deeper knowledge and wider perspective gained through the process. And again, human experience shows the people trust people's assemblies, whereas no one trusts the politicians. And that is what they're asking. Those are the three main things that they're asking. There are other things that they're asking for as well. Nikki was mentioning the biodiversity. They're obviously talking about food, to cut down to net zero by 2025. From my experience, you would have to radically overhaul not just the way you eat food, but also your travel as well. For instance, you might be able to get on a plane once or twice a year, but yeah, you're not going to be jumping on a plane to Prague for the stag do, you know. So that sort of thing is a massive change to many people. It means restricting flight, it means restricting travel, and there are quite some what many people will consider to be right-wing authoritarian views in there. Now, I personally don't, and that's something that Adam Bolton picked up on with his climate change denier. With this climate change denier. Scrap that. With this Extinction Rebellion activist on Sky, when he called him a fascist. My girlfriend noted to me, he's a guard dog. What she said about Adam Bolton when she saw it. She says, he's a guard dog. Did you know? I said, yeah. Remember, the media used to be the watchdogs of the establishment. They used to, watch them, make sure that they were, all above board. Now they've turned into the guard dogs of the establishment. Now they protect the establishment and protect the powerful. And obviously, you can turn them into attack dogs whenever they want as well, and attack somebody, especially if they're telling the truth. Adam Bolton. Yeah, when she said it, she said that's a guard dog. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, that's a guard dog for the establishment. That's somebody who's so out of touch. Middle-aged white man, very well to do, probably brought up in a upper class, middle class background. All these news reporters are the same, so they're all going to probably think the same line. You can certainly say that it would come from the same line as somebody like Andrew Neil. And this is obviously everything that's wrong with the media in our country. not everything that's wrong, but a huge part of it, of course, in that they may have diversity with regards to colour. They may have black people, Chinese people, white people, etc. in the news, but they haven't got diversity when it comes to class. They're all from the same sort of backgrounds, the same sort of education, etc. This is the problem, and it's a problem that we've been covering. Now I'm going to cover this more and more in depth as well as the weeks go on, as the week goes on, especially into the weekend. I'm not going to actually be going back to Wolverhampton until I've got enough footage down here so I can, put something together with exactly what's going on down there. But from what I've seen so far, it's exactly what you need to spark a revolution. From what I've seen, I'm a huge proponent of non-violent civil disobedience. I believe that we're not going to get change, and we're not going to affect change in this country, and there's going to be no change in this country or the world unless we actually take it and we change it and we make them do it, because we're certainly not going to be able to vote our way. We're not, even if we vote right now to tell them to do it, they're still not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They can't even leave a trading block after 3 years. What chance of them got into net zero emissions by 2025? It's absolutely nonsense. This is why what the Extinction Rebellion are doing with regards to these citizens' assemblies and demanding them, etc., and demanding huge change, pushing in the right direction from what I can see so far. However, I'm still reporting, I'm still finding out. I really want to know who's funding them. I really want to know that. I really want to know who's funding and where the funding's come from. And, I don't want people to say, oh, it's so-and-so, without evidence. I want to find out. Because I heard some things earlier from people who were saying this movement is not all it seems. And from what I can see, I think they're wrong. From what I can see so far, it seems to me like these are a bunch of people who really are investing time and energy because, they've got kids, they've got grandkids, and they care for the planet and humanity. Because they know something. They know something. They know something's up. They know we're at a point in time right now where we're in a up shit creek without a paddle, quite honestly. Best case scenario, if you ask me, best case scenario at the moment is we're on the verge of World War III. Worst case scenario is we're on the verge of extinction. And that's what these people in the centre of London right now are trying to get people's focus on. And unfortunately, the media are not focusing on that message. They're attacking it. I'm not going to do that. I want to start going down there over the next few days and start speaking to people and start, asking them in their own words, and let you decide. Let you decide whether what these people are, whether they are activists or whether they are whatever. From what I've seen so far, they're all great people, and I'm pretty supportive of what they're doing, even if I don't know who's behind the whole thing. I'll say fairer than that. Hi everyone, so that's the update on what I've been doing and where we're going and what we're going to be doing over the next few days. Like I say, I'm not sure whether I'm going to go out tomorrow and record much. I really could do with a day in resting, to be honest, because I'm knackered. I am absolutely knackered. I didn't get any rest at all last week. Came straight up here on, when was it, Friday or Saturday. Came straight up here on Saturday, and it's been hectic ever since. Not complaining though, I just need a bit of a rest. Hey everybody in the chat, how are you? Wave the Rule says voting isn't worth shit, or we'd have left the EU already. It's a very good point, mate. It's a very good point. How can people say that there's democracy in this country if we had the largest vote we've ever had and it hasn't happened? And they're frustrated at every single step of the way, as I've covered. I keep saying, I honestly don't think there's going to be any major change in the UK or the US or other Western countries, France, etc., until people start getting out in the streets. You look at France. Look at what happened yesterday, or the day before, whenever it was. Notre Dame burns down. These yellow vests have been in the streets 21 weeks, 22 weeks now. 22 weeks these yellow vests have been in the streets. Up and down the country, in cities up and down the country. It's not just Paris. It's Toulouse, it's Montpellier, it's Nantes, it's Nice, you know, it's all these places. And he's bent to a couple of demands, one of which he was going to cancel this tax giveaway that he'd given to the rich, and he was obviously going to cancel this tax that he'd put on fossil fuels. And that was it. That's as much as he can bend. Notre Dame burns down, and all of a sudden austerity's over, and he's throwing millions at it. Interesting that is, isn't it? Where's the money come from that? And then you've got, obviously, you know, you think about that, and then you think about, oh right, okay, all the millionaires and all the famous people who are chipping in, donating to that cause as well. They'll donate to a frigging monument, but they won't donate to their fellow human beings. And they won't, you know, they're against a tax to pay for people who are less fortunate, people who are struggling because capitalism and inflation has took over, etc. It's ruined their lives. You know, they'll do that. Not willing to take the cut to their tax or moving their money offshore so they pay less, though, aren't they? It's quite telling. It really is. It's no wonder that people are revolting against this class war. And it's not just France. It's going to spread. Oh, have I got another troll? Cool. I thought I muted one at the beginning. Thanks, the Natural Progressive. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you too. Cat girl is a troll. Think whatever you like, she says. It's a free world. Keep talking, mate. You'll be talking to nobody. I'll unmute you after this. I just don't want to deal with you at the moment. The climate has nothing to do with us, says John B. I disagree, and I've studied it. We account for 4% of CO2, says John B. Okay. And? And that means nothing. It's totally out of context, that is. That figure's just totally out of context. Invest in yellow vest, get rich quick. It is the top selling item, I believe, this year of clothing on Amazon in the UK. Was it top or number 2? I think there was some socks that were number 1 and the yellow vest is number 2. No, John B isn't a troll, Lawrence. John B's sound. We just disagree on this issue. Oh, I'm not going to get into the religious stuff. Yeah, I'm not getting into the religious stuff, guys. Who was the troll? Does it matter? Juicy Giraffe says, Gordon, I feel something like a yellow vest movement in the US can't happen just because of how giant our country is. Opinions. The problem you've got is not how giant the country is, Juicy. The problem you've got with America is healthcare. Because you have a for-profit insurance system, people can lose their jobs. And when people lose their jobs, they lose their healthcare. Protesters lose jobs. To be able to protest, you're going to have to, you know, be prepared. Hold on a minute, I might lose my job because they're going to come after you, you know. And this is obviously more important. We're in more important place at the moment than jobs. Jobs are worthless if the fucking earth is going to be too hot for us to live on, etc. So The problem you've got is healthcare. And this is, I think it's one of the reasons. Other people have thought this as well. I'm not the first person to have this opinion, but because you've got a for-profit healthcare system, it sort of acts as a deterrent against this sort of protesting. It acts as a almost a safeguard for the companies to keep people docile and in line and scared to revolt. Now, that's not to say that I don't think the movement will come to America, and I certainly don't think it's too big of a country. If you look at France, is a big country, you know, it's not as big as America, obviously, but it's a big country. I think actually thinking about it, landmass size, it's getting up there. It's getting close to America, I would think, looking at the map. So it can come to America size-wise. That's not the issue. The issue you've got is healthcare. People are going to be fucking scared. People are going to be scared because you know, you look at this Extinction Rebellion. These people are down there for 2 weeks. Imagine just up and leaving for 2 weeks. Your job, you're going to get fired. If you get fired, fine, you'll get fired, but you lose your healthcare. It's a real deterrent. And it wouldn't be surprised if they've actually... it's one of the reasons why they've kept it that way. Stephen Davis says capitalism basically needs to die to save the planet. I've lost count, right? I've lost count of the amount of times I get called a Marxist. It really is quite funny. Because when people think Marx, they think that, you know, they think they're calling them a commie. Like, just read Marx. Just read it. Just read Marx, or at least just go to YouTube and read, listen to an overview of Marx and what Marx taught. Everything he's basically talked about capitalism. What we're in now with capitalism. He predicted it. It's late stage capitalism. It's eating itself. You can't have infinite growth on a planet with finite resources. You just can't. It's impossible. It's mathematically impossible. And eventually we're going to get into the situation where these giant corporations are basically just, you know, getting to the stage where they're going to have to fucking tax air. This can't continue. Especially if you actually look at what really is one of the major issues, and that's not climate change. You know, John B., you keep talking about climate change and say it isn't real. Well, guess what, John B., and other people like that who disagree with, I totally respect what your opinion there, and you respect mine, I'm sure. We just disagree on this one issue. But just think about it. It's not just climate change you've got to think of. Overpopulation really is fucking real. And the threat of 16 million people on this planet by the end of the century, 16 billion people on this planet by the end of the century, by the way, yeah, that's a real problem. Because at the moment we're about 8, and most people say the planet is pretty much designed for about 1 billion people maximum. And at the moment we've got 8. What's it going to be like when we've got 16? And what's it going to be like if climate change really is a problem, which you don't think it is? You know, for Christ's sake, I read a story. I'm going to be doing a video in the next few days about fruit. I think it was some sort of fruit bat in America. No, a flying fox. A third of them, one heat wave, a third of all the flying foxes in the country, a third of them, boom, dead, dropped out the trees. One heat wave. One. Does this sort of thing not tell you, you know what, things are really happening at a rapid rate? Look at how many, I think something like 60% of all the insects on the planet's insect species have been wiped out in the last 40 years. Look at how animals and plants are migrating north. You have to look at the scientific evidence and don't be dogmatic in your views. I know, I used to be. It wasn't until I looked at the scientific evidence and actually started doing the mathematics myself and thought, oh fuck, I've made a big mistake here, this is serious. And that was about what, 10, 12 years ago. So it's not just the climate change thing, it's the overpopulation thing. And if you've got a solution for overpopulation, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. But you've got to find a solution for it. Burying your head in the sand, it won't go away. This problem will not going to go away. It's going to get worse. And guess what? If you're a young guy and you have grandkids, and hopefully, if you have kids in 20 years from now, your kids are going to be saying, "Dad, what the fuck's the matter with you? Why did you believe this was fake?" At least hedge your bets. Don't be so sure. At least if I'm wrong, hey, I'm wrong. But at least I can say, basically every scientist agreed with me. I think there's too often people want to be contrarians rather than look at the evidence. And I'm not suggesting this is you, John. I'm just saying, listen, you've got to look at the evidence rather than go with the feeling. Thank you, the natural progressive, yeah. Well, Forking Camera Guy says here, science is great if it can be proved. So the thing is, there's only so far you can go to prove things with science. This is why that we have the scientific method. It's not like people publish something in the scientific community and then say, okay, somebody come and prove me wrong, and until that happens, this is fact. No, that's not the way it works. When you put something out there, everybody is trying to prove you wrong. Everybody is trying to disprove you. What people have to do is prove you right. They have to prove you, and then it becomes scientific. That's the scientific method. Then it becomes the scientific consensus, if you like. When it's been peer reviewed by thousands and thousands of scientists. And if you actually look at the climate change scientists and the amount of scientists that are skeptical of it going into it, it's actually quite high. And it's only once they start, and the more they investigate climate change, the more and more certain they become. I've seen the graphs on it. Very interesting, actually. So you got to listen to them. And if you're saying it's all a conspiracy, then you know what? Where's all the rich fucking scientists in their castles? You're saying, I've heard people say, Exxon are paying these scientists. No, you idiots! Exxon are paying the fucking scientists that they're coming on and saying it's not man-made and it wasn't the fossil fuels all along. They're the people who are getting paid. Bernie has sold out, said Mick Brown. No, he hasn't, Mick Brown. Bernie hasn't sold out. He's just a big... He's just got no... I wish he would stand up. I would just wish... Corbyn the same. I just wish they would both stand up and stop listening to the fucking advisors. Just stand up and do what's right instead of what's politically, It's all about politically. It's probably politically better for you to stop out of this one, Bernie. No, you don't do that. That's not what leaders do. Leaders get out in front of these fucking issues. They don't take a back step. Same with Corbyn. These are my criticisms of them. They're not radical enough. We haven't got time to fuck about with this. That's why I've got so much respect for Tulsi Gabbard. Because she's coming out and she's taking the slingers now and she doesn't care. She knows that this is important. She knows that we're in a bad way, or they're in a bad way in America. So no, he hasn't sold out. He just needs to stop listening to his goddamn advisors. They're cut us in time just for artificial intelligence. Have you seen the video for Mercedes or robots? Well, this is another factor that we have to look at, isn't it? The takeover of jobs from robotics. What are you going to do? Seriously, when the electric cars come, and honestly, it did not. I was in one the other day, and they are fantastic. I was in a Tesla the other day. They are just amazing machines. Amazing. If there's a petrol head out there and you love your petrol head and you don't like electric cars, just get in one. You'll be changed instantly. And this is going to get more and more, especially if people like the Extinction Rebellion get their way, and we do have a massive overhaul in the way we transport things, the way we run our lives. Then electric cars are going to be a massive part of that. Electric trucks are going to be a massive part of that. And guess what? They can self-drive. They've got the technology. They're doing it now. They're ironing out all the kinks. Within 3 years, you're gonna see them on the road every day. Trucks as well. Look at those jobs. How many jobs are in the transport industry? I looked at it in America. It's a massive, massive chunk of your job sector in America. Massive chunk. What's going to happen to them? Where are those people going to go? What are the government going to say to them? Learn to code? These are big decisions that we've got. Big decisions. And it's about time, somebody from one of these leading nations got out in front of it and became a visionary. The Notre Dame Cathedral fucking burnt down 2 days ago, whatever it was. And obviously it was more coverage of that in 4 hours than there was of the yellow vests in fucking 22 weeks or whatever it is, as my girlfriend said the other day. I've forgotten the point I was trying to make there. It's totally gone out of my mind. I forgot the point I was trying to make. The Notre Dame Cathedral. So that burnt down. I was looking it up. I was looking up when it was built. That took 100 years to build. It took 100 years to build Notre Dame Cathedral when it was first built in 1160, I think it was. So the 12th century. So it's nearly 800. It's like 800 years old, something like that. 800, 900 years old. And it took nearly a century to build. Nearly 100 years. The people who built that, who started building that, and who had the idea to build that, never saw it finished. Ever. They never saw it finished. We don't fucking do stuff like that anymore. We don't fucking do stuff like that anymore. Imagine what we could do right now if we got the smartest people on the planet and gave them a task and said, right, we're going to build something in 100 years. What could we actually do as a species? Fucking can you imagine how incredible if we had 100 years to build something? We could literally go, yeah, all right, we'll inhabit the universe. We'll do it in 100 years. We'll get off this planet. We'll figure out a way of building a spaceship that we can live on. They can do it. If they had the visionaries, they can do it. But we don't do that anymore. Companies don't look 100 years in the future. They barely look past the end of the month or the end of the quarter. And look at what's happening on TV. Look at who the TV are bringing on as experts on this thing. Look at who they're bringing on as experts. The fucking politicians and Tony Blair. We shouldn't be listening to these people. We should be listening to the professors, to the teachers, to the academics, to the scientists. This is what we used to do. It's what America used to do. And they created the best fucking economy the world has ever seen. Now, it's just a military-industrial complex with a flag. That's it. Nothing's going to change unless we take it back from them. Nothing. And it's great to see these people from the Extinction Rebellion even trying, even if they are being funded by some, and these people who are saying they're being funded by some shady organisations and they're up to no good. You know what? Their message is quite good. And I totally agree with it. I say I'll look into more, but really I want to get down there and I want to start speaking to people and get their stories of why they've come down there and who they've left behind. People have left their kids behind to come down to this thing. 2 weeks away from their children. They've never spent a day away from their children. They've come down to this thing for 2 weeks. Why? For their children. To defend their children, their children's future and their children's future. The only way we're going to get change is by that, and by a mass movement. I'm fully behind it. By the look of it, like I say, I'll reserve judgment. But so far, from what I've seen, it's been brilliant. And what I've seen from the police has been just a giant waste of bloody money. It took 200 years to build Notre Dame, not 100. Says B. Green. I thought it was 100. I thought to check that yesterday. 200 years, same point. Thanks for that, B. Green. Going down and time. Please let go of the Malthusian population change. Yeah. Please stop telling me what to fucking do. We can go live there live now, not far from all, says Nick Brown. Hi, Mick. Should be one of their hashtags, says down. Right, I just want to no, it's probably just 100 years of touch. No, I think it was. I'm sure it was 100 years. I'm sure I checked it yesterday. Yeah, so it was about 100 years. There's been major restoration, etc. So it has been probably. I know. I'll check it. I should check it. Yeah, I know, mate. Lawrence, I can't. Guys, I know. I came online and said, I'm sorry about the sound, I'm sorry about the way things are. I haven't had a chance to sort out all the settings yet, and I'm not the best tech guy in the world. I'm sorry, I'm really, and I'm really tired as well, so I'm really not probably reacting in the best way as I normally do. I'm getting frustrated and whatever I usually do when I get tired, so I'm going to get off and get a good night's sleep and come back and start getting stuff... Start getting people in their own voices from down there. Because from what I see so far, I don't see the media doing it. I don't think they're going to do it. And it'll be interesting whether the police change tactics over the coming weeks. But certainly what they are. Two's time, what's the matter with you? You're being a contrarian. Which population am I going to cull first? When did I talk about culling a population? So yeah, I'm getting frustrated now because I'm tired. Right, I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna get out, and I'll be back with videos tomorrow. I'll edit those videos from the weekend, and probably not go out tomorrow. The Extinction Rebellion aren't going anywhere. I can get pretty much to any point within 20 minutes from where I am. So if anything does happen, anything major, I can be down there straight away. But what I want to do tomorrow is I want to concentrate on the editing, etc. And I've got some interviews coming as well lined up for next week with some people that you'll be aware of, so that'll be great. There's big things ahead. Yeah, there's big things ahead, big plans, and I would just want to say thank you to you all, and I'll continue doing this if the donations keep coming in. You keep supporting me, and I'll keep doing it. We need a voice down there. We need a voice at these events. And yeah, I'll keep covering it as best as I can, and I'm learning, I'm getting better at it as well. So thanks very much for all your support. And like I say, I'm going to get off because I'm knackered. I need a nice hot drink and then a warm bed. So a nice 8 hours, 10 hours sleep. Peace, everyone. Thanks for all your support. I'll be back tomorrow with videos, and I'll be back out the day after, whenever that is. I've lost track of the days. I'm so knackered. Peace, everyone. Thanks, Thanks very much for all your support.